when I was hired in 2010, I realized that this is a big school with its demographic and racial and ethnic complexities, with diverse learning experiences. You know, you're talking about refugee kids here. I mean, that have gone through war and things that you gotta find a way of making instructional teaching meaningful for them.
Research and data showed that the ninth grade year is a pivotal year for high school students in the fact that students who fail one or more classes in their ninth grade year are less likely to graduate over 4 years or even 5 years.
The Freshman Academy is a school within the school. It's a smaller place where the students are localized in the school, working with teachers that teach mainly freshmen.
In the Freshman Academy, we figure that that's the year that kids need more support.
For the Freshman Academy, it really works. So we started to do some research and we came upon the idea of flipped learning, which we define as sending home the intentional content, that introductory material. So then when they come in, you're already at step 2. And then you get to do the higher order thinking skills for the rest of the period. It really frees up the time for the students to apply that knowledge, to think about it critically, and to create.
I find it interesting how factories are able to be created and given an opportunity to these girls, because back then they didn't have much of a role in society.
The overarching goal is that the students are going to be doing the hard work with the teacher, so that they have that mentor and that coach when they get stuck, instead of becoming frustrated and shutting down. Within their homework, they have 4 options: the textbook reading, an online video, or an online article. And sometimes I'll throw in a 4th depending on the topic or what's available. Again, it's about giving them some choice, letting them take ownership of that and say, what works for you? Then when you get into the higher order thinking skills, the critical thinking, and you say, all right, this is yours, they buy into it even more.
Many educators have this misconception that flipped learning is just about using iPads. It is more than that. I can flip a classroom without an iPad. It's making sure that students become producers of knowledge.
That's one of the best things about my job, because it gets them thinking, and it proves that they're thinking because they are grappling with these ideas. In the information age, you can look up the basic facts, but it's what you do with those facts and how you use them that's become so important, and that's what we're trying to instill in the students.
We basically restructure the school and reduce the class size, coming up with a ratio 20:1.
Definitely there are some trade-offs having, the ninth grade academy and the smaller class sizes. Right now, I have 2 classes, 18 and 24, but then my history elective has 37, which is an 11-12 mix. So there is definitely a big difference. I think the trade-off is that at the earlier levels, you're really able to give them individualized and personalized instruction, targeted feedback. When I'm only looking at 18 students and 18 pieces of work, I can really provide that feedback that they need. And I think that then helps them by the time they get to those higher grade levels. It's really worth it.
Our class right now has such a broad skill range where we have students that unfortunately really struggle a lot. And then we have students that excel and their grade is up in the high 90s. To differentiate the instruction for these students in the class, a lot of times we'll do an opener. We give them a quick question or two, whether it's from a flipped assignment the day before or it's getting us ready for the day's lesson, and we use that assessment. We do a quick sort, and we can put them into groups based on that.
Teaching in the block schedule was like the best thing that happened. 54 minutes was not a lot of time with freshmen. I mean, you take about 7 minutes to check in, get them settled. Then you have about 7 minutes of wrap up. So you're really down to about 40 minutes if you're lucky. Whereas in the 80 minutes, you have that time to allow students to work, to have them get with partners, groups of 4, but still have that clear beginning and clear end to a lesson, which I think really helps the students frame their learning a lot better.
Now that I've taught 80 minutes, I can't imagine teaching less, because in that time you can go over and give a little bit of direct instruction and then have the students try the problems independently. So I feel like that's where you can really give the one-on-one support.
And even the students, the 9th graders, they're only in 4 classes a day. So that's only 4 transitions for them. That's only 4 periods or 4 topics they're thinking about in a given day, where before they were thinking about 7 transitions, 7 different classes, 7 different homeworks. So I think there's a lot of benefits to having the 4 periods that are 80 minutes.
It was difficult to convince faculty members that that was the best approach, because it will increase time on learning the classroom, it will give them more time to prepare and so on and so forth. But when it was accepted, we did not just go and implement it blindly. We prepared teachers to do it.
Freshman Academy is about perseverance.
See students really taking responsibility and ownership of their learning.
Giving people the time to pause and reflect and try new things is critical. So many of our teachers are skilled veterans in this job, and they do an excellent job with their students, and we're asking them to rethink what they do and push themselves. And so that's a really delicate process, honoring where people are at, but asking them to go beyond their comfort level.
So it's a sense of community, it's the commitment, and making sure that students are at the center. The job of a school that claims itself to be innovative never ends.